Welcome everyone. Today's topic is understanding the pillars of real estate empire building. Okay, so we're going to go over the details. I have a lot of information to share, so let's just dive into it. Okay, so in real estate, there's so many roadblocks, okay, that we face when getting into real estate. You only have three exit strategies. You can either wholesale, fix and flip, and buy and hold. Every time you want to take any of those three exits in this roadmap, you're going to face multiple obstacles. Okay, so let's just go ahead and just show you what it takes to be successful in real estate. Okay, and then we're going to go over what you need to do to understand the basics and how to become successful to be able to build an empire in real estate. Okay, so first of all, you've got to identify hot markets, where you're going to invest, whether you're going to do flips, buy and holds, wholesales. You've got to understand the market. Okay, super important. Most investors, they just start anywhere without understanding the importance of the market. Okay, and the market, pretty much your exit strategy is going to be driven by the market. So every market supports a different market exit strategy. So there are flipping markets, rental markets, and then the next roadblock is accessing great deals, right? What makes a great deal? How do you find them? How do you identify them? And most importantly, how do you get them on the contract? Then you've got to be able to analyze the deal, right? Quickly, especially if it's a great deal, you've got to jump on it super fast, otherwise it'll be gone. And then if you're going to wholesale the deal, you've got to make sure that you do all the legality, the assignment, and then sell the rights of the contract to a third-party cash buyer or investor. And then if you decide to either fix or buy and hold, obviously you've got to buy the property. So you need to get funding. So that's another roadblock. And then if you're going to either fix or buy and hold, you've got to rehab, right? So you've got to have the right crew, you've got to pull the permits. So that's something also that it's a deal breaker, right? Even if you have a great deal, but you hire the worst contractors, that can eat up your profit, okay? So super important that we're gonna get into these in more details. And then flipping the property, right? Most investors want to sell the property for a given number, right? The after repair value, but just to find out that they can't meet that number, right? So that could be a problem. Although right now, since there's such a shortage of inventory, we're finding that more and more investors are able to pay crazy money, right? So that's a good thing for flippers. They have increased their profit margins in the last 6 months due to the shortage of inventory. And then buy and hold, you need to make sure that you do property management properly, okay? Just to not neglect the property, make sure that the tenants are thoroughly screened and that they're happy, so you avoid having high turnover ratios, okay? So now, this is what it takes to be successful in real estate. So there are way too many things, right? But we have 4 main pillars. So you have knowledge, you need time, you need motivation, and then you need credit, okay? And then around these pillars, you have multiple factors that you're gonna need: education, property management, financing, rehabbing, you need to have a goal, accounting, and so forth, okay? So this is what I found in my experience in the last 3 years. These are my findings for the most successful people, okay? So number 1, let me show you. They have a great deal. They understand basic analysis and they have funding, but they have funding because they have a great deal. So everything is based on finding a great deal and getting that on the contract, okay? Super important. And let me tell you, this is what separates most successful investors from the ordinary, okay? So it's not that they're super smart or that they're super ambition or their drive, absolutely not. So this is what the pros have in common, okay? So they have access to the right information at the right time, okay? They have a growth mindset, okay? So they welcome challenges, they welcome feedback, they fail time after time, but guess what? They learn from their mistakes. They find others' successes as inspiration, okay? And guess what? They are always sticking to the goals, okay? So they are very goal oriented, organized, hardworking. So having a growth mindset is super critical, okay? They believe that skill is acquired, okay? So you're not born with it. They believe that you can develop that. So that is why having a growth mindset is critical in the success um, for real estate. Number three, perseverance. That is super critical, and that comes with never giving up, okay? Because as they said, you never know how far you are from success. Number four, having the right partners, okay? Working with the right team, because real estate is a people's business, is who you know. It's impossible to make it all by yourself. Just like you saw everything that you need an accountant, funding, finance, rehabbing, inspections, attorneys, and so forth. So you need a big team of trusted partners. Okay, it is super critical. If you have a bad partner, it's like having a rotten apple right in your basket. It's going to affect the entire transaction. So this is critical to have and work with the right people. And then I would like to add two more points to this, to the right partners. You need to take action. Okay, it doesn't need to be perfect, right? But execution trumps knowledge all day long. So you can have all the knowledge of the world, but if you don't take action, guess what? It ends right there. So execution is super important. And one more that I would like to add is serving others. Okay, because a lot of people, when they meet other investors, they're just looking to see what they can get for themselves instead of trying to figure out how can I help the other investor? How can we work together? How can we have synergies together? How can we complement each other's skills? Okay, so you always have to think, how can I serve you better? Okay, when working with other people. So as Stephen Covey said, it says, begin with the end in mind. I love this quote, okay? Always begin with the end in mind. So you work your goals backwards. And in my opinion, having discipline, okay? Having a routine, it is super critical. In this case, eating healthy, working out, it's going to add to your success in real estate. Okay, okay, perfect. Okay, so having and maintain a daily routine, it is super critical. Getting up early, working out, eating healthy, and obviously having the right social support from your loved ones, it is critical for your success. And as I mentioned earlier, you're in a people's business. So getting to know somebody that you're going to potentially do business with is critical. So when you meet somebody, either virtually or over the phone, it is important to understand what areas they're working on, their strategies, whether they're going to flip, do rentals, and so forth. What is it that they lack? And what is it that they bring to the table so that you understand how you can complement each other's skill sets? Okay. Important subject, other people's money, okay? So, and other people's time, OPM, OPT. So in real estate, if you want to grow exponentially, you've got to leverage from other people's money and other people's time. What does this mean? Even if you have stash of cash, you've got to preserve it and try to use other people's money so that you can have very little money on the deal and be able to grow exponentially. Now, other people's time, what it means is that um, it's referring to rentals. When you have other people working, paying the mortgage on your behalf, and on top of that, you're having positive cash flow in your pocket, That's leveraging from other people's time. And that's how you're going to be able to build an empire in real estate. In this case, rentals will outperform flips, wholesales all day long, okay? So this is something that I love, okay? Upwork and Fiverr, we currently use them. These are platforms that allow you to hire virtual assistants. Because guess what? Something that I discovered in the last 3 years is that you become the bottleneck of your own success. Why? Because there's so much to do in real estate, all the pillars that I mentioned earlier. And guess what? You cannot do it all. There are other people who can do it faster, better, more efficient, more effective. So leveraging from other people's skill sets is the way to go, because then you'll never become the bottleneck of your own success. In these two platforms, Upwork and Fiverr, you can find incredible talent all over the world. Okay, we've used them tremendously, extensively, I would say. Okay, so these are great resources for you to take some of the to-dos off your shoulder, because you've got to focus on what's truly important and is going to make you money in real estate. Okay, and that is finding great deals, right? Number one, understanding basic analysis, and you're going to get funding when you have a great deal. So these are the things that you've got to focus: making offers, talking to sellers, talking to listing agents. Super critical. So having people helping you do other tasks is going to help you focus in the 20% of the activities that are going to make you very successful. Okay. So now I would like to share, this is one of my favorite books, Cash Flow Quadrant from Robert Kiyosaki. The four quadrants were either you or you were or you're going to be, that shows you where you need to be when it comes to real estate. Okay, so there are four quadrants. This is the first one, is when somebody has a job, right? W2. And then the next one, the problem with this one is that you're always running on the treadmill. You're chasing money. Okay, the second quadrant is where you're self-employed, meaning you're working for yourself, so you don't have a job now, you own a job. Okay, example of that is, contractors, inspectors, attorneys, flippers, wholesalers. So the minute you stop working, guess what? Your income goes down to zero. Now, the third quadrant, this is getting more interesting. This is when you become an owner of a system, a proven system, such as franchises, right? They give you a turnkey business that it's already working. At that point, you're leveraging from other people's money and other people's time. In the first two quadrants, as an employee or self-employed, you are the bottleneck. Okay, if you stop working, if you're out of commission, your income goes down to zero. Quadrant third, and then the better one, fourth, you become an investor. So you're not chasing money, you're making money work for you, because at this point you're leveraging from other people's time and other people's money. So this is accomplished by owning rentals. So they're going to be running on the treadmill, meaning working, paying your rent, and on top of that, you're going to cash flow. So this is the way to go. Therefore, rentals in the long run is the way to build wealth in real estate. So I just wanted to give you all the information, the pillars that you need to have to be successful in real estate. But based on my experience, please do not try to do it all, because then you end up doing very little, or what you do doesn't end up being at the level and the quality it should be. So you should always rely on a group of team, okay, working with the best. That is why in ChicagoDealVault, we have shared all our preferred partners so that you get to work with the top people. In fact, that's been my objective in the last 2 years, building relationships with the top key players in the industry. From attorneys like Gary Davidson from Castle Law, #1 law firm in Illinois, Frank Montreux, real estate broker #2 in Illinois, and many others. So we have mentors and advisors, which is super critical for you to have because they become your accountability partner. Okay, so my advisors, just to mention a few: Andrew Holmes, Rahul Vishal, Dan Carlton, Joe Mueller. These are just some of our advisors. La chamarra, mija. Some of our advisors that adding so much value to what we do. Sí, mija, ahí está la menta. Agarra de la chamarra de la bolsa. Okay, they're adding so much value to what we do. Okay, super important to always get advice, get feedback from the pros. Okay, because if you work with very successful people, guess what? Guess what the result is going to be? It's going to be incredible, right? You always need to partner up, work with people who know more, who have more than you do. Why? Because that's how you're going to learn. And the other way applies, right? If you end up working with people who have less or know less than you, then the likelihood of being very successful diminishes by over 90%. Okay, so again, real estate is a people's business. It's super critical for you to delegate because I see a lot of people, a lot of investors who want to take on so many tasks like property management. They even want to take on tax preparation. Okay, so please always use the professionals. It's gonna probably cost you a little bit more money in the short term, but in the long run, you're gonna be better off. And this is one of the biggest differences between ordinary investors and the pros. So ordinary investors always think, okay, how much is this gonna cost me on a monthly basis? Versus the pros, the professionals. They always think value. How much value am I getting in exchange for this amount of money? Okay, they always think value, which is critical. And not only that, but they don't have the short-term objectives, right? They always think in the long run. What is it going to position me for success in the future? Okay, and that is accomplished by working with the pros. So for instance, I can give you multiple examples. I have a broker's license, but guess what? Oftentimes we don't list our properties. We give them to the best. Like Frank Montrose to list our properties. He's got over 38 years of experience. So can you imagine? Or even making an offer. We could make an offer. But guess what? We choose to use Frank to negotiate and get properties on the contract for us when they're MLS. Okay, why? Because imagine, can you? He's run across so many listing agents in the last 38 years that many of them are his pals, his friends, right? So he's gonna get us the best result either way. The same applies for working with the best attorney, working with the best inspector, working with the best contractors. That is super critical. Contractors can be a deal breaker, okay? If you hire the worst contractor, which we've done in the past, can cost you so much money and headaches, okay? So we're sharing all our resources to make sure that you can take your real estate investment efforts to the next level. So let's just quickly summarize and understand everything we've covered today. So to be successful in real estate, you're gonna need time, motivation, credit, and knowledge, okay? And there are many more factors and pieces that you're gonna need, but guess what? You don't have to become an expert in all of them, okay? What you need to do is you have to work with the best people. And not only that, but please do not become the bottleneck of your own success. How can you accomplish that? Please hire a virtual assistant from either Upwork or Fiverr. You're gonna find that an incredible resource, okay? Why? Because if you have to-do list and you don't get to them, guess what? You will never be able to grow. You will never be able to move on to the next step. So that is why getting people and delegating tasks so that you can focus on what's truly important in real estate. So again, all the pro and successful people have one thing in common. They have a great deal. But do you think that comes easy? They just extend their hands and boom, the great deals come their way? Of course not. It takes experience, it takes time, but that's what you need to focus on. Being the best at finding deals. So for that, you need access to great information. You need to have basic understanding of analysis for the properties. Funding is going to come your way if you have a great deal, because everyone is going to make money if you have a great deal. So funding, especially when you use asset-based lenders such as hard money lenders or private money lenders, funding is going to come naturally your way when you have a great deal, because there are going to be plenty of partners, plenty of investors, private money lenders who want to be part of your deal, because guess what? They're going to make money, and so will you. Next, you also need to have perseverance. Super important. Never quit, because you never know how far you're from success. And having a growth mindset, it is so critical, meaning that you're going to embrace challenges. You're going to take others' successes as inspiration. You're going to welcome feedback. You have to learn, sharpen your soul. I happen to use audible.com to listen to books. That is super important. When you're driving, listen to books, learn. Extremely critical. And finally, and I think this is very important, execution. Take action, because you can have all the knowledge of the world, you can work with the best partners, the best people, but if you don't take action, if you don't execute, everything ends right there. So execution or action trumps knowledge all day long. What it means is that you have to take action, do something, make offers, make phone calls, talk to people, network, super important. Let me ask you this. In the last week, how many phone calls have you made to people that you look up to, that you admire, that you would like to know how they do things? 1, 2, 3, maybe 0. That is very critical. In my case, in the last week, I've been able to reach out to at least 5 key players in the industry, just to touch base, just to say Happy New Year. I'm touching base with you. When can we get together? Okay, so I happened I met Gary Davidson before he left to New Orleans last week. I spoke with Frank on Monday. I spoke with Rahul over the weekend. I touched base with Dan yesterday. I invited Cheryl, top wholesaler, over the weekend. So I'm always keeping in touch with people, and most importantly, I always look to serve people, and that is super great. How can I make your life better? How can I help you? Okay, it's not always what can I get from you? Can I have this? No, always think how can I serve you better? And that's gonna pay off 100 times fold. Super critical. And that's how the pros, that's how the key players operate. They always want to help you, and that is why they're at the very top. If you think about the top key players, they are always givers. Think about what JFK said, right? Don't think what you can get from your country. Can you think about what you can do for your country? Okay, so if you become a giver, serving other people, you're going to be extremely successful. Okay, and again, you've got to work on becoming an investor, meaning being on the fourth quadrant, owning rentals, because that's the true way for wealth in real estate. Owning rentals, because at that point, you're going to be leveraging from other people's time and other people's money. They're going to be paying for the mortgage expenses, and on top of that, you're going to end up with positive cash flow in your pocket. Okay, so let me just share with you where you can find the resources to help you support those pillars that I mentioned earlier. Okay, and I'm going to start in a sequence that makes sense, because I want to make sure that you know what you need in those pillars. So when starting in real estate, you're going to need, I'm going to go under preferred partners. This is ChicagoDealVault. You are going to need an entity, okay? LLC, S Corp, so that you have 3 benefits: get funding, asset protection, and tax benefits. In this case, depreciation. So reach out to our accountants, either Patrick or Andrew Thomas. They're going to be able to help you set up an entity for you. That's number 1. Step number 2, you're going to need to line up funding for your deals, so you can reach out to over 25 Harmony lenders. So they're asset-based. When you have a great deal, these are the institutions that are going to be able to fund over 90% of your purchase price and 100% of your rehab. Over 25 Harmony lenders. So reach out to them and get an approval letter, proof of funds, line of credit, however they want to call it, so that when you find a great deal, boom, you are ready to pull the trigger. That's one. And then the second type of asset-based is private lenders right here. We have over 4,000. Reach out to them, super important. In fact, friends, over the weekend, I met with 2 private lenders at a coffee place, okay? Obviously respecting the social distancing and so forth. So it's super important to build rapport with them, because guess what? Whenever you have a great deal, all it takes is a phone call. It's a phone call away to get funding. Please reach out to them. You can filter them by city, zip code, even by name, you name it. So please build rapport, connect with them. You're in the people's business. So that's about funding. Now, how do you find great deals? So in ChicagoDealVault, you can search the MLS, okay, right here, or you have the ability to have access to properties that are technically not for sale, meaning off-market properties, probates, pre-foreclosures, upcoming auctions, shadow inventory, vacant properties, even wholesale deals, okay? So super important to take advantage of these lead pipes, because you need a great deal and you need to become the best at identifying great deals, okay? And let me just give you one rule of thumb to identify the best deals. Take the purchase price, okay? Let's say 100,000. The property should appraise for 100,000 more, so for 200,000, and the rehab should be less than 50. That's it. If you hit that number, you have found an amazing deal. So again, you buy it for 100, you're gonna put in 50, all in 150, it should appraise for 200,000. When you hit that number, you're gonna be able to do a successful flip, a successful buy and hold, or a potential wholesale. That's simple, okay? Now, if you decide to buy and hold or fix and flip, I'm gonna go back to our preferred partners. You are going to need general contractors right here. We have over 10 GCs right here, or actually over 15 GCs, because they're gonna be able to help you do an accurate scope of work. They're gonna give you a quote for what it takes to bring that property to its previous glory. Super, super important. And then we have contractors by trade. So we have carpentry, we have plumbers right here, plumbing, we have electricians right here. So please take advantage of these resources, electricians, okay? You're gonna need an attorney, right? So right here, I'm gonna go to attorney, Gary Davidson. You get to work with the #1 attorney in Illinois. You're gonna need an inspector, okay? So right here, if I go to inspector, you're gonna work with George Wyatt, okay? Top inspector. If you need roofers and so forth, everything is right here, okay, for your success. And again, just to summarize, please make sure that you sharpen your sword, you join webinars, because you need to have a growth mindset, and most importantly, perseverance, okay? Never give up, because you never know how far you're from success. The most successful people have failed hundreds, thousands of times, but they never give up. That's the key to success: perseverance and execution. Take action. Take action. Taking action trumps knowledge all day long, okay? Even if it's not perfect, it's okay. You're gonna become better and better and better every single time, okay? So I hope you learned a lot, and this was very informative for all of you who joined tonight. I'm gonna take a few minutes to answer any questions that you may have, and give you access for free to our resources. So Phil, can you please send the free trial with the promo code SUCCESS? For those of you who want to take advantage of our resources, please, by all means, have access to them, because I want to make sure that your life is made easier, that you leverage from our resources to get to work with the top key players in the industry. And please delegate your task. Hire a virtual assistant from Upwork or Fiverr.